When I think about resource and resources, I always think that one of our biggest resources is time.
It's our most precious resource, right?
Yeah, that's what I often think about, because I'm often thinking about how do I maximize my time, and how am I very thoughtful about making sure that I can fit in the things that are truly important, that I want to prioritize, that either give me energy or move me further towards my goals.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing swell. Still in Sweden.
We are. I just got almost stuck in a podcast booth.
You got stuck in the booth while I went to get us more beverages. That was hilarious. You couldn't open the door.
I couldn't get it open.
It's just got a magnetic lock, apparently, a latch.
A very strong one, though.
Not even a lock. That's hilarious.
I don't think I'm that weak. I could not get it open, though.
Yeah, that was funny. Okay. So
Sorry.
now that we're warmed up with the last episode. So I tore out the days from my tearaway calendar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You brought them with.
And brought them with because I think I was just trying to bring with some of my routine to help maybe center me. And that's one thing I looked forward to, was like seeing a new day on the calendar that it's Seth's calendar, Make a Ruckus calendar, right? And just has like, small little ideas on each day. And I look forward to it.
Can I pause real quick and just tell you, I love that you brought things with you to ground you.
Okay.
I think that's a really good practice for anyone who, sometimes we say you're a reluctant traveler.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's fair entirely, but I do think that was a brilliant move to bring some things with you that made you feel connected to home, even though you were away from home.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you props for that.
So I've been listening to, I think it was on YouTube, because like you'll fall asleep and then I'm like, okay, what else is going to ground me? I'm like, watching a podcast or listening to one. Yeah. And I have the premium, so I don't have ads really on a lot of them. So I'll grab one that doesn't have ads. Whichever one I was listening to, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But one of the questions in like their lightning round was like, are you happy? And someone said, I'm content. So I'm thinking of that because when you call me like a reluctant traveler,
yeah,
I think it's because I'm content. And so I'm not necessarily searching for anything outside of what I've built, because I'm okay to not just keep saying content. Like, I'm happy with the life we've built together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that makes you smile. Totally. But not kidding myself, I'm content because I'm surrounded with things that I know. And so when the uncertainty creeps in, I tend to get a little restless and a little I don't know, fidgety or whatever. I don't know. I'm not trying to be too hard on myself, but anyway. So back to it. I brought the calendar pages. I tore off as many, like in the clump, to have for how many days we'll be gone.
Yep.
And I've been having to tear a couple off a day. I think the first time you heard me like peeling them off, it's like
I knew exactly what it was.
And you're like,
because I have one at
I got you one.
I have one too.
Yeah, I got you one to have in the apartment.
Yep.
So I was a couple days behind today, and so I was tearing them off, and I was like, oh, these might be some fun things to talk about.
Yeah.
So Tuesdays, this is from Seth's calendar again. Just want to make sure I'm giving props to it. There are two kinds of skills: resources and tools. Ones that get used up as you use them, right? Resources. And ones that get better when you do. So
those are your tools.
When you develop your tools or build your tools, and this is something that actually we were talking about with Rick when we were visiting him here in Stockholm.
Yeah.
Building assets. That came to my head when I was reading this after we had met with him. Assets can be tools, acquiring tools as assets, right? And so anyway, it kind of stuck out to me in, being mindful about, okay, what am I using my resources for? And am I getting like a good return on that? Or am I burning them up and I'm not going to have resources left? is kind of what comes into my head when I think that.
Yeah.
And then thinking about, okay, what tools am I developing or what tools am I acquiring or, building for myself that I can use? And like you said, like one of my tools was like, what can I bring with me that'll help me be grounded? Say maybe when I am getting a little overwhelmed or something with I don't know if it's uncertainty with travel, but like,
yeah,
I get a little unsettled sometimes with the decisions that need to be made, right? When it's like,
you get decision fatigue.
Yeah, like at home, it's like, I'm hungry. Oh, I know exactly where to go to solve that problem. It's called my kitchen.
And if it's not there, you're used to the store and where things are in the store.
Yeah. If it gets that far. But it's usually like, where's the refrigerator? Oh, there it is, right where I left it.
Oh, hello there.
So anyway, just going to say this again real quick for you.
Yes.
Because I want to hear your thoughts or what comes to your head. There are two kinds of skills, resources and tools. Ones that get used up as you use them, and ones that get better when you do.
Yeah. When I think about resource and resources, I always think that one of our biggest resources is time.
It's our most precious resource, right?
Yeah. That's what I often think about, because I'm often thinking about how do I maximize my time and how am I very thoughtful about making sure that I can fit in the things that are truly important, that I want to prioritize, that either give me energy or move me further towards my goals. So time is one of the things I think where you use that up. Absolutely.
Another thing Seth says is you don't get tomorrow over again.
You don't get tomorrow over again.
It's like, so what are you going to do today?
You don't get tomorrow over again.
Yeah, I love it because it's a different way of thinking than, well, if you could do today over, would you? Or if you could get yesterday back, it's like, well, that's not how time works.
Yeah.
So
it's spent going back and relitigating the past.
Or lamenting what we've talked about the power of regret. And so it kind of gets into that. And there is some power to it.
There is.
But when you start thinking of those regrets in such a hard way that it stifles you and stops you, then it's got power over you versus invigorating you, right?
Yep.
And so that you don't get tomorrow over again helps me remember, like, okay, so what am I going to do now?
Right.
What am I going to do today to set up tomorrow? Because I'm not going to get tomorrow over again.
No. Yeah. Okay.
I just blew Laura's mind.
You did. I'm sitting here just...
Right. Sorry. Me repeating Seth blowing my mind.
So Seth Godin blew my mind.
Yes. I'm just...
Not. Sorry, honey.
I'm just the conduit. But that's how great ideas spread.
That's true.
So anyway, there's a few tangents in this conversation already.
Yes. Okay, so just going back to that resources versus tools. So one gets used up and one gets, repeat that part, and one gets better
when you do.
When you use them. That is, I think, 100% accurate. Because depending on what you're talking about when you're talking about tools, you learn how to do things and you kind of hone your craft.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that is a tool you use to move goals forward or a tool you use to navigate life, I do think you get better and you adjust them as you go, right?
Well, I mean, it could be, it's a simple like metaphor is dicing an onion. Is that knife you're using sharp and are you taking care of it, right? And then the practice of chopping that onion, the more you do it, the better you get, the more refined, the more efficient maybe, and then you have more time to do the other part of the preparation. And so, I mean, I obviously I'm talking about like how my mind works of like, oh, if I can be really efficient and do things really well with this step, then the next step, or like we were talking earlier about how I enjoy the process of learning how to edit audio better. But I'm still trying to find a way to not dedicate so much time to it. So it's a balance of I enjoy the process, but I also know that I'm over indexing on it. And I'm hoping I can find a more efficient way to do it. And I have over the last few years, well, couple years, but I'm either too particular or haven't maybe found the best way of doing it. And I think not having found the best way of doing it is a trap to keep me from elevating other parts of my skills or my tools, I guess.
Right.
But anyway, I was talking about dicing onions.
Yeah, you were.
And that made you think of something.
Well,
and then I was rambling.
Because you're talking about taking care of your tool. And are you sharpening the knife? And it made me think of the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and sharpening the saw.
Yeah, that's where Jay gets that from, I'm pretty sure, for Art of Pace.
Okay. And so the idea, what I'm recalling of sharpening the saw is not necessarily that you're continuing to use the saw and the saw gets better, but you as, I don't know if you as the saw, but how are you taking care of yourself on kind of all areas of your well-being?
Yep, different facets of your life.
Yes, yeah. To make sure that you are, that you're prioritizing yourself, you're sharpening that saw. So when you do show up, you have the energy, you have the focus, you have the ability to do the things you're trying to do in a really great way.
Yeah.
So that's what that made me think of.
And that really stood out to me when I heard that in The Art of Pace. You know, when I went back to school to learn how to build guitars and repair them.
Yeah.
The first month was on hand tools, and you couldn't go further in the program unless you passed that first month. A large portion of it was flattening your chisels, flattening the backs, and then sharpening the bevel and learning how to grind it and then how to maintain it with whetstones and literally sharpening the saw blades on a saw so that it cuts better. Having a very sharp tool is safer than having a dull one.
Yeah.
And in learning that, you know, and so then applying it in that metaphor that Covey uses of your life's going to go better if you periodically stop and maintain yourself and pay attention to these different facets of your life so that you can keep moving forward in the way that you're seeking to go without such like a rough cut kind of thing, you know, like, and I'm going in between the metaphor, but I was like, oh, I get this because I have whetstones at home. Like I have them in a container and you get it polished to such a fine sheen that like you can see your reflection in it. And so anyway, okay.
But I do think that is very appropriate to what I feel like, at least what I'm doing right now on vacation or on this trip with you.
I don't know if we talked about it on here, but I'm like, can we call this quote unquote vacation a trip? Because there's definitely a connotation to the term vacation that I don't like. And it goes back to what I said. Like I'm very content with our life.
Yeah.
I don't need a vacation from it because I love that I have you and our kids. So let's think of it as going on a trip together.
Yeah.
Because I don't, you know, I'm bringing stuff to make me feel like I'm at home because I love what we've built together kind of thing. So anyway, that's why Laura has hesitated to say vacation.
Vacation.
Which
so I'm trying hard because the reframe is really important for you.
Yeah.
Even if for me, it's like, well, they're kind of the same, but you know what?
I don't need to be
that's
like
okay.
so strict about it. It's just
you're
that
not.
I appreciate.
Like you said,
yeah,
vacation.
No, I don't do that.
You don't do that.
I appreciate the effort you're putting in because it shows that you listened. And so that makes me feel seen and appreciated. And like you could have got mad and been like, I'm going to call it whatever I want because I crave vacation. I need that to unwind, you know, and then the big hullabaloo, which doesn't happen, thank goodness. But
no, so
there's a little baby outside the booth.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so cute.
So many cute Swedish babies I've seen on this trip.
I know. But being on this trip really does help me sharpen my own saw. because it is one of those things where the types of roles that I've held in the last 10 plus years have been pretty high, a great deal of responsibility and tasks that have been on my plate that I've been responsible for. And so oftentimes I love what I do. And so I work really hard and put in the time. And at the same time, that means I need to find some space to step away, move my mind off of the day-to-day problem solving.
Yeah, because you use one of the resources that you use daily is your mental energy.
Absolutely.
Very heavy mental work. You're doing emotional labor too.
Yeah.
And that needs to get rejuvenated.
It does. And one of the things that I knew, so when I grew up, my dad was a doctor, emergency room and family practice, and delivered lots of babies.
And he was still taking call when we were beginning our relationship. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's getting paged to go into the hospital on like Christmas Eve. I'm like, what's happening? Like, I didn't grow up with this.
He's on call at Christmas,
Like, it must be important if he's getting a call in on Christmas Eve,
Yeah. And I mean, it was a smaller town too. Yeah. So it was, but that's one thing that I learned is that he never fully got to step away and take a vacation. If he just took a vacation, was around home.
Everybody knew.
Everyone knew.
Whether or not he said anything about it, somebody would see him that knew him.
Yeah.
Because we can't go anywhere in that town without me saying, oh, Dr. So-and-so, that's my father-in-law. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And which is really, really great. But at the same time, and it's no one's bad intent, but I do think, there was times he was trying to get some work projects done at home and people would walk down the street and say, so-and-so is trying to get a hold of you at the hospital. And he'd have to call back and go in and, and again.
Even if you're off, like your conscience
just not off.
Can't let you be off. If someone comes to you and finds you, you're going to help if people need help. Of course.
Because that's the kind of person he is. That's the kind of person I am and you are. Yeah. And so when it comes to work, I love what I do. And so I give it my all and I'm present and I'm there and I'm going to follow through. And at the same time, I know I need to carve out time when I can simply create white space for myself mentally. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't do that, I'm continuing to use a knife or a saw that hasn't been sharpened, right? Like I'm just continuing to, one thing that I love here in Sweden, you haven't joined for as many of the breakfasts as I have because you've been sleeping in, which I think is good. We're each enjoying our how we do mornings.
Yep.
And so one of the things they have here at every breakfast is they have these amazing loaves of bread and they have a knife. And for the most part, they're really nice and sharp, serrated knives. Once in a while, you'll get one that's a little dull. Mm-hmm. And so
it's not as smooth.
And so
harder.
It'll do the job, but the bread gets a little squished and it doesn't quite cut, it might cut the slice awkward.
Yep.
And so
you get a wedge instead of a slice.
Yes, you get a wedge instead of a slice, and nobody wants a wedge of bread.
Well, it sounds okay. But I get it. Yeah.
But I will say, bring it back to our trip. What I'm trying to do is go from before our trip, that knife that would kind of do the job, but kind of make a mess of the loaf of bread. I'm trying to make myself into that nice serrated knife so I can go on and get my open face sandwich going for breakfast.
Even like we talked about a couple weeks ago with your gardening, you were pushing through and were not honed. You were pushing through, getting it done. Like we talked about that. You're right.
Yeah, it was rough.
And I get it because you had to kind of get to
I got through the dip.
Yep. But that was just another example of where I was like, maybe you just need to take a pause and, like come back at it, refresh. And you're like, nope, I'm doing it. And like, you kind of being a little stubborn, right? And sometimes it's okay. Like that's low stakes. But when it comes to like you doing the work that you do,
yeah,
you need to show up your best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the people you work with deserve it. You deserve it.
Yep.
And everybody comes out better. Like the outcomes are better for the people that you're doing the work for.
Exactly.
So you and I recuperate and re-energize in different ways. And I don't always remember that. Or luckily you're patient when I think on this trip I've been, why are we doing this again? And you're like, I told you. I'm like, but I don't remember because my head's full of a bunch of other things. And I know you told me, but I don't remember. So can you just tell me again? Because then I'll probably be a little more like, okay, I get it. Like, I know that happened at least 2 times.
Probably.
And probably way too.
2 times?
At least. I said at least. And I at least 2 times in very close succession.
I'm just laughing. I'm like, I'm
like, why are we doing this again? I don't have the best tone when I say that. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, ugh. And then you feel like, why do I have 3 teenagers with me?
Yeah. 15-year-old Keith comes out.
Yeah. Like, ugh.
Can I get my hair frosted again? Frosted tips.
Give me some frosted tips. Yeah. I don't think I ever had frosted tips except for when it grew out and got cut, like not short enough.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I definitely dyed my hair a lot. Anyway.
You're funny.
Do you you dyed your hair, right?
Oh yeah. I know I dyed my hair like a very bright, like red orange. Very similar to Claire Danes on My So-Called Life.
Oh, obviously. Just dated yourself.
So Jared Leto is so dreamy. Oh, honey. So thinking more about this resource versus tool, I don't think thinking about tools that we have honed and developed and grown, I don't know if we would be in this booth today if we hadn't developed some of our tools around podcasting. I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous about podcasting somewhere other than our studio at home.
Yeah, you were.
Or closet in Green Bay.
You were like, all of a sudden I look over at you on our way down here. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, are you okay? And you're like, I'm a little nervous. I'm like, what? I'm like,
I was.
This still might not work.
It still might not. This might be like hidden files.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've got a backup going on my phone, but who knows if that'll even work. But yeah. Okay. So.
But honestly, I don't know if we would be in this pod that I can't get out of myself.
Yeah.
Apparently. If we hadn't shown up so many weeks in a row, recorded, edited, shipped the podcast week to week, and work through some of those, I don't know if it's uncomfortable. I mean, it's uncomfortable growth.
Yeah.
Right? Around putting ourselves out there, creating something and sharing this project with each other and getting you and everyone listening, but in getting used to really making sure that we were showing up for each other and showing up for ourselves at the same time in this process. But I honestly don't think we'd be recording if, say, this was month 2 or 3 that we were recording.
No.
I think we would have felt like imposters.
Well, but that's so a great sentiment of like why it's so important to simply start.
Yeah.
Because it took us so long. It took us so long to do that and simply press record. And then it took us so long to ship.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got in a groove.
Yeah. Yeah, we were rocking.
And then we refined. And we refined and we kept going. And then it was, instead of it feeling kind of like a grind, like it did for maybe the first few months.
Yeah.
And there's ups and downs over the last couple of years.
That's with any project there is.
Yeah. But then I developed my skills and gathered the tools to edit better. And I've been re-releasing some episodes. 1, because it's nice to reflect, but 2, I want to see if I can make the audio sound better. And it gives me a little bit of a buffer too with the release schedule.
Yeah.
But then we also we had to take the step to record in a closet in our apartment.
We sure did.
You know, and that's basically what we're doing, except for this is a really nice recording closet, as far as I can tell. I mean, we'll hear the sound eventually, right? But
got some mood lighting. We'll take some pictures and maybe we'll post them somewhere at some point.
Very interested to see what the ambient sound is like with the music just blaring out there.
I can hear it out there.
Yeah. But if we hadn't started, we would still be at 0.
Yeah.
And so not waiting for the right tools, not waiting for the right resources, especially with something like this. There are so many ways of, like, we could be doing this in our hotel room with my phone that's recording the backup.
Yeah, totally.
And is it the best? Probably not. But we don't need the best. We just need to do this one so that we can do the next one.
Exactly.
And that's kind of how we got to, now we're like, hey, what is that? I'm like, what is that booth? That is a recording booth. What is happening in there? And you're like, yeah, right? Like, what is that?
Like, we should do that.
So, I mean, it's out of our comfort zone, but like, we've gotten fairly comfortable recording.
Yeah.
But this is a new level. Like,
I will say much better than at the beginning, where you would say something and set me up on something, and I'd look at you like, I give you that look of deer in the headlights, just like, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah.
I would have to listen to your edits. Remember the first few, I listened to your edits to make sure you cut out the things that I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm too embarrassed for you to put that in.
Yeah.
Even though it was nothing now that I look back at it. I've grown.
Yes. And it's a big deal to show yourself.
Yeah.
And to be seen. We bring this up. We want to be seen, but it's also a big deal to show yourself, or it can feel like it until you do it. And just like anything, it's like, this feels like such a big deal. And then it's like, oh, you know, I don't like, I'll find myself being like, oh, I finally did that. And like, oh, I wasted time. And like, but I don't want to get down on myself with that. It's gotten easier and easier with this project in particular. Has helped me expedite kind of jumping over the cliff of trying something new in quite a few ways. But I still hesitate every now and then.
Yeah.
But I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm aware of when I'm holding myself back, and I can acknowledge it.
Yeah. Which is nice. I think that is the first step, right? Is to be able to either acknowledge when you're holding yourself back, or surround yourself with people that are able to challenge you when they see yourself doing that.
Yeah, awareness, right? That awareness is key, and it can be really hard.
Yeah.
Because I think it comes from being able to pull back a layer at least and remove yourself from the intensity of maybe what you're feeling.
Yeah.
I'm going to say perspective again. And it's like, but it's so true. These are the tools that are worth investing in, and they get better the more you use them. Pulling back, reflecting, thinking, why am I having this reaction to this or that? Or why did that outcome happen? You know, it's like using my analytical part of my brain for good versus getting anxiety or overwhelm. You know, like, hey, let's use that as the superpower, not the thing that might cripple me into not doing anything. You know, anything can help you or hinder you depending on how much you index in it or to what degree, I think.
Yeah.
Like, too many apples are bad. An apple a day might be good, right? But 37 every day for how long? You're going to have problems.
Yeah, you might.
just saying.
You might.
So something I think about when I hear resources, you brought up time.
Yep.
You have money.
Correct.
And for me, like, us doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's so inexpensive to do what we're doing all the things we can do with technology. And I know we've hit on this before.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing that we can distribute our thoughts across the world. And like 100 years ago, it would cost a fortune to try to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps us go anywhere, but like I was just thinking of like, well, okay, well, what are some other resources? Because there's a ton of skills that when I think of them, they're more maybe tools or like assets to acquire to help me do the work. But anything coming to mind for you?
I think financial resources as being one thing that you can use up. And you were just talking about how to do projects like we're doing right now, say even 10 years ago, could be really, really expensive and use up financial resources really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I can do that to ourselves as well, because you and I both like learning and collecting things that are going to help us make something better, more efficient, more professional, those sort of pieces. There's only so much that you can invest in something as kind of a passion project that you're just putting out there into the world and investing lots and lots of money and time in without having some sort of return or bringing in those financial resources in another way that supports not just your lifestyle, but also your pet projects. And so I do think that that's important to talk about. There's only so much money you can invest in something. One thing, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking, and I can't remember which podcast, but they were talking about how they've started telling themselves that from a business standpoint, although I'm passionate about putting this content out, I don't make a new investment in equipment, memberships, etc., going to conferences or anything like that, unless I am sure that that investment will return revenue. I think it was tenfold, which is really interesting way to think about it, because if you're spending, say, $100 on new books that are going to help you be able to hone your craft of podcasting,
or whatever it might be,
or whatever it is, will that $100 in books translate into $1,000 of revenue? I think that's a really tangible thing, and it's not all about revenue. Don't get me wrong there, because you and I mean, we do this because we enjoy this project with each other and hope we're putting some good into the world based on being open and vulnerable with our experiences and the way that we think.
Well, it's helping us build our skills and develop the tools that we want to do future projects and create more assets from getting these reps in.
Yeah, and I mean, we're just two people navigating this world. I mean, it sounds weird.
So, when you say it like that, it sounds like it needs to be on a coffee mug or like the kitten holding on to like the clothesline, like hang in there.
Hang in there. No, but
two crazy kids trying to navigate this wild world.
No, but I think it's important to say it, because I don't know if they say it to you, but people have said this to me where they're like, well, you have everything figured out.
Yeah.
Right? You have great kids, you have a great husband, you have a great job, you like what you do, support a family. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, yes, all those things can be true. And at the same time, there are things that we struggle with. There are things that we overthink.
Have you listened to our podcast where we're asking each other, do we even know what we're talking about? Like, here's an idea I just heard and it blew my mind and it kind of shook me to my core. And I don't think I quite understand how to proceed. Help me navigate this.
Yes. And so, I mean, I just think that's important to notice and put out there, that our podcast isn't just about we want to make money.
No.
I think our podcast is about we want to put something in the world that resonates with folks, because it's things that we navigate and we know other people navigate them too.
Yeah. Or it's a great excuse for us to hang out and have a conversation. Like I've said before, I spend a lot of time in my head and it's benefited me for the most part. I'm hedging now, to get out of my head and say it out loud.
Yeah.
Obviously with you, it's easiest because you've known me the longest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just trying to figure it out, and hopefully if we can share what we're trying to navigate, it's always easier to go together than on your own. And so if it resonates with somebody else, like maybe they can join us for that wild ride you talked about.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, we're doing that, but going back to our time, I don't know if it's time, but time and attention, we choose to do this in our time together, which isn't unlimited.
Mm-mm.
Right? And so we also use that resource of togetherness and our time to connect to do this project, where we could pick many other things to do as a couple to connect, but we prioritize this because we enjoy it.
A great resource that you just said is like attention.
Yeah.
And where do we put it? Like, so I'm really glad that just came out, because trying to be more mindful of how I spend that and becoming more mindful of where I'm giving my attention, I think it's helped me move forward with sticking with this project, because like I've always wanted this podcast to keep going as long as we've started it. Every now and then I'm like, maybe we should just be done. Like, you know, like that's me in a dip of like maybe not feeling well, or I can't think of the right thing to say. And, I don't know if what I have to say is good enough, you know, all those things, but like not really ever been like, oh, we should just be done. Like, isn't this enough? You know, if I'm giving my attention, like any of the social media platforms, right?
Yeah.
It's a nice little dopamine hit and it's entertainment. That's fine. But if I find a good book or something that has an idea that helps me move through problem I'm having or navigate a difficult situation that I find myself in, that's invaluable. And not like getting on TikTok or those types of things, you know, like that just, they steal your attention and you don't get anything back.
They can, yeah.
Not to say like, again, we still like to send each other funny little videos every now and then.
It's true.
Like, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't want it to all of a sudden, like however many minutes just disappeared. Because they're designed to do that. Anyway, rambling about something that we all know and we've talked about before, but being intentional about where I focus my attention is something I think I've been doing a better job at navigating over the last couple of years, probably because of this podcast.
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't want to show up and say like, I watched a funny video about this. Ha 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 ha. It's like, no, like, not that I would randomly talk about that anyway, except for with you, but like, I think there's better things to spend my time on. And attention.
I'm going to share this. I probably shouldn't.
Oh,
I don't. No.
Oh, no.
Do you not know where this is going?
I have no idea. I'm nervous.
No. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to start by saying I'm not sure how this has started showing up in my feed, but it has. And I keep clicking on it. So now I'm just reaffirming that this is the content that your social media should.
Your algorithm's messed up.
Yes.
Oh, no.
And so the thing that I keep getting sent to me, and I think I've sent you a few of them, is this guy, and I don't even know if he's from Norway. It says he's from Norway. He says he's Norwegian. I don't know. But he looks kind of like Thor, right?
Long blonde hair, right?
Yes, and long blonde hair, blue eyes. Like, what is it Batman has? Like a 9-pack? All the abs.
I didn't notice that in any of the videos you sent me, so you must be looking at some that I haven't seen.
Oh, they must be serving me up once with him. I don't know. So he starts out and he doesn't talk and he's not smiling or anything like that. And it'll say, you know, what you think a Norwegian personal trainer experience looks like, you know, and he's just, you know, 9-pack.
Looks like Fabio or something, kind of like a Norwegian Fabio.
Absolutely. And then it'll go what you actually get, and he'll have like a Norwegian sweater on and a hat, and he'll go yoo-hoo and like do like this funny Norwegian, kind of like in Frozen, the shopkeeper, And I know it's for comedy,
it's comedy.
Right? It's comedy.
There's nothing wrong. We love comedy.
We love comedy, but they keep sending and serving that up to me. And I probably have watched too many of them and sent them your way because I just thought they were funny. Anyway, not sure where.
Lovely tangent, Laura.
Lovely tangent. Yes. But I had that moment, but they're pretty funny.
The most important takeaway from that is not trying to preach that I'm perfect at hyper-focused, only giving my attention to the most noble of sources and learnings. We're simply talking about the idea of like, hey, let's pay attention to where we're giving our attention.
You just aren't sitting reading Sense and Sensibility and then moving to Moby Dick and then moving to, I don't even know, tell me other classical works of literature.
Count of Monte Cristo's on my list.
There we go.
Crime and Punishment's on there. So I've got them on there.
As I have been reading the Thursday Night Murder Club and like Bird by Bird, I'm still trying to, I have not opened that book on this trip. I'm really disappointed with myself.
So you brought that book. I brought The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Oh, have you started it?
I'm about at least a quarter of the way through.
Oh, that is so good.
But like, I haven't cracked that book once on this trip.
Such a good summer read.
So many great intentions for our trip. And it's like, what did we think we were going to be doing? Sitting in our hotel room reading books? I was going to
blog every day. I was going to, I've journaled.
Yeah.
I'm calling that a win. So thinking about, so we're sitting here in our trip mode still, and knowing in 2 to 3 days, we are going to be stateside again, getting back to quote unquote normal life.
Yeah. Summer.
Yeah. I don't like the word normal because what is that?
Yeah.
Actually.
It's a weird transitional phase because school just let out.
Yeah.
Tennis wrapped up, but different tennis like extracurriculars kind of started for the summer, but then we're also now on a trip and then we're going back into that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So maybe knowing that we're jumping back in to our typical flow of life and not vacation Laura and Keith.
Back to our familiar environment.
There. I like that framing.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about this idea of resources and tools, what sort of things do you want to keep front of mind as we move into that space? Because I think we could possibly stop recording on the podcast and be like, all right, best of luck getting back to it.
Yeah.
But how can we enter into that space with some more intentionality when we're thinking about these two things, resources and tools?
Well, I mean, I've gotten away from my morning journaling, and I've been talking for months about how I need a better capture system. And yet when things shifted, like on this trip, I shied away from the only capture system I've been doing consistently for several months, which is morning journaling.
Yeah.
That is something that's important for me to get back to, but also maybe be a little more strict with, whether it's one sentence or one word, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of make that commitment.
Yeah.
And then let it build naturally. And it doesn't feel like a heavy lift to get back to it, but it is interesting to see how I let it kind of slip away in this environment, you know?
It's easy to do though. My morning routine has been replaced with get up, meet my parents for breakfast, have an amazing breakfast and amazing cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And then get rolling for the day. So I get it.
Yeah. And so I don't even know if I'm answering maybe what you're asking, but another thing, I don't know if it's like more dedication to taking care of myself, you know, like having a sore back on our trip made me realize like, okay, I maybe instead of spending 10 hours on every podcast edit, I need to reallocate some extra hours to my health and making sure that my mobility and my flexibility are good, and then also building the muscle back up so that injury doesn't happen and things like that. So that's one of the nice byproducts of getting out of our familiar environment, is not having all of those maybe defense mechanisms that I've inadvertently built up. Like I have these things that keep me grounded, but maybe I'm grounded to the wrong things.
Well, and I'll share this just as maybe a small thing, but I think you and I both have noticed that a lot of places that we have gone haven't had air conditioning, specifically our hotel rooms.
Yeah.
And you and I keep our house pretty cool, and so it's comfortable for us. But it is that idea of wow,
it's warm.
It's warm, and we really do want that cooling.
Yeah.
Because our bodies run hotter than other people because we have a little bit more insulation, right? Yep.
Insulation is the word I use.
So, and there's nothing bodies of all sizes are beautiful, right? So I'm not saying that, but I am saying you and I have noticed one of our comfort zones is that we can keep our house at a temperature that is comfortable for us to be in, where we've had less control over that. So that's kind of out of our comfort zone, but it is a good thing to notice, okay. I would be more comfortable if, I don't know if I'm saying it right, or that's a good example even.
I think it's a good example of paying attention to the signals that we're receiving. And, when I've, it's like we're talking about reentry. We've talked about that coming back from date night.
Reentry.
When the kid, especially when they're little, it's okay, we're coming back into to this zone where it's not about us anymore. We're not
going to get sleep.
Yeah, we got away for a couple hours, but now that's all over. This maybe feels a little bit like that, the returning back to what's familiar.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that would be a really good thing for me to journal on of, what do I want to be familiar with?
Right. For me, from resources and tools perspective, it does give me a renewed sense of, okay, so we're going to jump back in, and this gives you an opportunity to start anew, to really think about how do you spend your time? How are you more structured with your time so you can get the things done you are committed to and have time for the things that are important to you as well.
And what needs to be important to me is a maintenance schedule of honing those different facets of my life and sharpening those tools.
Right.
It's kind of like two different metaphors, right? But what you feed grows is, something that
right.
we've said and works, but that maintenance of not just getting out for a walk, but then it's also taking time to journal. For me, it helps my brain.
Yep.
Talking to you helps me process.
Yeah, this has been a great couple weeks here.
Absolutely.
We can keep that rolling.
Yeah, and for every facet of your life, giving it a little attention and time and maintaining it, or making sure you're aware of where things stand.
Yeah.
It could be as simple as, giving it a red, yellow, or green. Exactly. And that's something I sometimes forget about, but usually on a weekly basis, with the Art of Pace group, I check in with okay, how was my health this week? And it's oh, I didn't eat that great, but I got a little movement. And I'm okay, it's kind of yellow. I want it to be green, and
yeah.
Same with my relationships. It's oh, I didn't get to talk to Laura as much, because she had graduation and then I had this. And okay, I need to make sure I pay attention to that relationship, and I want that to be green. I don't want it to be yellow, So
yeah, so getting back to that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anywho, do you have anything else that you want to throw out there before we say goodbye or recommendations or? Right before we left, I listened to the Holderness Family's book.
Oh.
Speaking of some videos that we share with each other every now and then.
Yes, they're funny.
They're funny, and but they have a book. Off the top of my head, it's called Everybody Fights, So Why Not Get Better at It? And it was a good listen. They both read it, and there's interaction between them. So that is a recommendation for, like, if you're listening to us, you might like that book too.
It's good.
So anyway, that's a little recommendation I have.
I like that recommendation.
Do you have anything else that you want to throw out there before we say goodbye, or recommendations, or?
I was going to say to think about what resources you have and what tools you want to sharpen, and find ways to be intentional about how you're using the resources that may have some limit to them, and ways that you can hone your craft and take care of your tools.
Sounds good.
Sorry, I don't have another recommendation.
No, that's a great recommendation. It's a nice little recap. Thanks for bringing it home.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
I love you too. What's that?
Wanted to see what it looked like on my phone.